Good evening and welcome to our little vampire role-playing game. I'm Jared Logan and you're watching Stream of Blood. Tonight, the epilogue to Season 1 of Vampires of Pittsburgh, an ongoing tabletop stream of Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. I'm so happy you're all here to play along with us. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming back. It's what a long, strange trip it has been. We've done 20 episodes prior to this one. 2 hours, 2.5, sometimes 2:45. And boy, our characters and our players have gone on a long journey from newly embraced vampire to hardened anarch revolutionary. I couldn't be more pleased with how the story and the game has been going so far. And so I'm excited to get into tonight's festivities. This is a little bit of an epilogue, so I'll just briefly mention right now that you will not see an episode of the show next Wednesday. There will be no new episode of the show next Wednesday, and then we'll pick up right after that, so 2 weeks from now, with a kind of a new season of Vampires of Pittsburgh that starts off just a little bit in the future. We're going to jump ahead a little bit of the future and deal with this new status quo that our players have created for themselves. But first, why don't we tie up a couple loose ends tonight? And to help me do that, I still have the greatest players on the planet. Let's bring them into the room now. Who should I start with? This guy is a licensed pilot. And an incredible improviser, actor that you've heard all over podcasts, seen in movies and TV. He got to be in a Godzilla movie. Godzilla is one of my favorite things, so I think that's really cool. And playing the crusty union dock worker vampire turned Camarilla blood-bonded pawn, turned again to anarch revolutionary, Miles Vanderbuck. Please welcome Thomas Middleditch, everybody.
I'm a pilot.
Oh, wow.
Pew.
What is that? Oh, is that how you play pilot video games, but more realistically?
Yeah, this is how I play my pilot games. Pew, pew, pew. Full throttle. Lasers.
Wow. I hope you apply the same seriousness and dedication when you're flying actual planes.
Yeah, sure. Coming in for landing. Watch this. I know. I'll try a barrel roll. Pew, pew, pew.
How scary would it be if I was in your plane with you and that's how you were talking the whole time? Here we go. Coming in for a landing.
Buckle up. Ha
ha. All right. Welcome back, buddy. Well, you decapitated the prince in our last episode. Well, spoiler alert. You should catch up on those episodes because last episode was our Gen Con episode and it was a gigantic, huge heap of show. How's Miles feeling tonight going into this little kind of post-mortem session? How's he feeling?
I think he feels free and reinvigorated. He feels like his old self.
That's great. Well, yeah, now he can fight the power freely. You know, he can bring down those damn HMOs.
Yeah, he's seen the light. He's ready to go. Back with his old pals.
Well, let's bring him in.
3 weeks now, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, how much time has passed in Vampires of Pittsburgh? Some people are like, has only 3 weeks passed? And I'm like, no, it's been like 4.
Yeah.
All right. No, it's been longer than that. I can't. Stories take place in a narrative time. Okay. Have you read The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell? We don't have time for that. Oh, but I know who's someone who has read it. A guy with a thorough occult library. And he's also just an incredible improviser and actor that you've seen on things like The Good Place. And he's part of the Improvised Shakespeare Company. Please welcome the esoteric Ross Bryant.
Whoa!
Oh, hey!
Sorry, you caught me. I'm just working my way through this series of Gothic novels. Having read The Vampire, I'm now into Vathek.
Vathek, yes. I've always wanted to read Vathek. It's about a mysterious man from the East.
Yeah, a mysterious caliph who goes on a mission beckoned by a evil djinn to despoil himself and winds up in the underworld.
So many Gothic novels are just so blatantly racist. They're like, what if someone from another country came here?
Yeah.
That's what passed for horror in the 1890s.
Yeah, basically, the author of this, William Beckford, the main source of like esoteric horror is like, can you imagine if someone like wasn't British? How
right,
scary that would be. How just like totally twisted that would be.
Good God,
right,
my Lord.
Yeah. So what passed for like horror in the 1890s is what passes for politics for some people in America now.
Yeah.
Yay.
By the way, tonight's session is going to get really political, and by that I mean just me telling you what I think.
Oh, good.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, great.
2-hour rant.
Everybody feels really comfortable with that. I can see that there's not beads of sweat breaking out on my on Ross and Thomas's head. So I'm going to bring in our third player. You can hear her in The Last of Us 2. You can see her on Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet, and you can also see her here on Vampires of Pittsburgh, where she plays the tech CEO and thin blood vampire, Jen Brown. Please welcome the amazing Ashley Burch, everybody. Hello. Wow. Oh, there's a lot.
Ooh.
You
You
serve
serve a revolution and then accidentally blow up half your army. That's my new hashtag.
It flows right off the tongue.
I think it really has a ring to it.
It's catching on.
Yeah. Taking the chat by storm, I'm sure.
Absolutely. What are you thinking? So I forgot to mention Curtis Krieger, the war veteran who's now been drawn back into war. I think he didn't like his experience as war. Now he's been drawn back in. And Jen Brown, who was kind of ambivalent about the whole vampire thing in general. You guys are now the heads of a revolutionary vampire movement. How does that feel?
We sure are. Yeah, how do you feel about it, Ross?
I feel great about it. I think Curtis feels simultaneously very, very alive for being someone who's dead, but also potentially as a military person, he knows that the buck stops with the leadership, and they take responsibility for the failures of others.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Yeah, that sounds like. Oh boy, I'm worried about this whole story, but we'll be all right. We'll be all right. I think being a leader might even be harder than being a pawn in someone's game.
Yeah.
Certainly.
That's just me. You guys are going to be fantastic. Should we get started?
Please.
Okay, so I'm going to title our first. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to title this "The Next Night," right? So the things that happened on our previous show happened the night before. You guys have all had time to sleep through the day, and we'll find out how you got back or what happened, immediately after your adventure from Saturday. But it's the next night. And Jen Brown, if you check one of your mini devices for news as you awaken the next evening, you see that the national news is going wild over a night of lawlessness in Pittsburgh. The Red Network is running a story that it started as a movement on the popular platform Grouper. They are saying that people on Grouper, Jen Brown's company's platform, their app that she uses, decided to all coordinate a night of anarchy and lawlessness. This is mainly a story that's been promoted by the Red Network, which is kind of a right-wing network, who are kind of saying that they're not really talking a lot about why people would do this, just that they used your app and that they did it because they like to destroy stuff. And so it's all over the news, and it's all over the national news. You guys, you kind of had no choice last night but to go back to carry blast furnaces. And as we deal with sort of the epilogue here and, the finishing up business, we might not set a scene for everything. We might just kind of talk about what kind of decisions you make, kind of keep it in the abstract a little bit. But when we need to, we'll set a scene. So I want to ask you first about Carry Blast Furnaces, this place you've kind of been hanging out with the anarchs. Are you feeling like staying there? What's going to happen to your old haven or Jen Brown's apartment? What are your thoughts on that now?
Well, I feel like we can't stay here. We definitely can't go back to our old haven. And I have to assume that Sonia has stripped my apartment. Because she knows about it. I mean, Sabrina was there, and Sabrina's Gould.
Right.
So I think, I don't know about how you boys feel, but I feel like it's kind of scorched earth here.
It ain't safe.
Okay, so what you're telling me, I mean, Jen Brown, you're saying even this like blast furnace's location feels like it's compromised to you.
I mean, I guess we could think about that. I mean, how would they have that information? It just seems, though, that after wreaking that much havoc, we should not be in the same place as we were before.
Yeah,
That's sort of
I
my
mean,
instinct, but
I can tell that Jen Brown, if she asks around about it, I'll just give you this information. The other anarchs tell you that Erasmus made them keep moving a lot, and this was one of the locations that they used. They also used a series of churches for their communion ritual. So yeah, they before you guys joined on, they did keep it moving. Yeah. So it's up to you how long you want to stay here. But just to kind of give you a little more context, you know, you're kind of awakening. You're kind of like deep down back in that kind of blast furnace like building where you could, you know, the light doesn't quite shine in far enough. You can kind of get back underneath of like old pieces of metal and stuff. And so you're awakening, and there aren't as many people with you as there were the previous night. But so let's find out. Let's find out where everybody went. Right? I mean, there are more anarchs here than there were maybe when you went to sleep. The group came back, the ones that were left. But let's find out what happened to them. So 6 were sent to the USX Tower, and they were put into torpor there. And we know this is true because Miles saw their bodies in the morgue. Curtis, at one point you sent a coterie of 4 dangerous-looking biker anarchs to attack the other small coteries in town. Why don't we see how they did with one roll?
Okay.
So there were 4 of them, and so I'll give them a dice for each member of the coterie, right? They were chosen by Curtis specifically for combat work, so I'll give them a die for that. Hopefully I'm using the wrong die here. Okay. So that's 5 die. I'm going to give them a die for mobility because you also just chose people that had motorcycles. That feels like they're going to be able to do guerrilla work well, move quickly, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't tell them who to attack specifically or really give them any specific targets. So I'm going to take away a die for that. So that gives them 5 dice. And I'm going to see how many successes they got and tell you what the result is, okay? And as you might imagine, 1 success means they did very poorly, and 5 successes means they did pretty stellar. Let's see.
Okay. Come on, boy. Come on, folks.
Biker boys.
Biker boys.
Biker
Baby
boys.
Sons
They
of Vamparchy.
okay. They messed up another coterie's haven. Which might keep that coterie busy for a little bit.
Which coterie?
For a couple nights. Yeah, I'll find. I'm gonna roll to find that out in just a second.
Great.
Which coterie? Let's see. I have a roll. I have a random table for that too.
I need to make more.
They
elaborate
messed up a
notes.
coterie. Okay, they messed up the Warhol Museum. There was a coterie headquartered in the Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh. They basically what they did is they messed up that museum really badly, and it's no longer usable as a haven. But they lost 2 guys doing it.
Okay.
Pittsburgh is a war zone.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh is a war zone. The Warhol Museum, and you guys know enough about the vampire clans to know that the Toreador were the Camarilla faction, the Camarilla clan that headquartered out of the Warhol Museum. So that's what they did, and they lost half their number doing it because they only got 2 successes here. So, but they're back, and as you awaken to the dusk, you hear 2 motorcycles revving out in front of the blast furnaces. And let's see what else. Okay, you sent 30 anarchs to attack Miss Sonia's haven. She blew it up.
Mhm.
How many were destroyed in the explosion?
Let's.
This feels like a fucked up children's math book.
Right. Let's see. So I roll.
The SATs rock.
I roll.
Totally
I rolled 3 10-sided dice because there were 30 of them, just to see how many died, and I rolled that 17 were just burned and totally wiped out in the explosion. So only 13 of your anarchs returned from that. It's a little less than half.
Yeah, it's almost half.
Yeah, almost half. So
that's 15 thus far of our number. Is that right?
Yeah, you've got 15 there, and then let's see. Plus, let's see. So there's 15, and then there's you guys and Mary.
Okay.
So
round that up to 20, I guess, because Mary is a bit of a beast.
Yeah, it looks like you got like 20 guys now.
Fucking goddamn it!
So you've got well, let me get it exactly. So it's 2 biker guys. It's 13 of the raid people, and then it's you guys and Mary, which equals 4 people. So that's actually 19.
Yep.
And
hey, that's my lucky number. So
yeah. I can tell you that you recognize some of the vampires that didn't get killed in the raid, which is, I don't know if that's here nor there because they are still pretty new to you.
Sure.
But you see the very earnest sort of Nosferatu woman who was kind of like taking Erasmus to stake him, the night before, and you see Kenya, the woman who was kind of with Erasmus earlier on, explaining why the urn was important.
Who was a thin blood vampire?
She was a thin blood. That's right. Oh, speaking of Erasmus, you guys have the bodies of Erasmus and Churchill Jackson. I assume you kept Churchill's body when you sent him into torpor, right?
I assume so.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah, no, yes, we did. We had
would you drag? I mean, it might be the smart move unless you were going to leave him to like maybe be revived, or were you going to leave him out for the sun?
I think maybe I think Curtis would want to take control of the body to make sure that he didn't revive, and because his head was ripped off, right?
Yeah, Mary.
He was like kind of like ripped,
just kind of popped out, but not fully decapitated.
Well, that's another important point. When you decapitate a vampire. And maybe Miles just learned this through practical experience. When you decapitate a vampire, the vampire does go to final death. So Churchill wasn't fully decapitated. He was just kind of ripped open by Mary with her amazing, huge claws and sent into torpor. So did you decide to fully decapitate him and end him forever? Or did you keep his tortured body?
Well, what the hell are we in this for if not to end it? I think we ended it. I think if honestly, if Mary wouldn't finish the job right there, then I think it might have been Curtis just walking up with the K-bar knife and seeing if he could like get through the last little bits of viscera and take the head off.
All right, then I'm going to set a flashback really quickly of Curtis just like K-bar knifing his mentor's head off of his body.
I said I closed the eyes, so maybe at first it's this. It's like rest, or it's like just go see your wife, and then maybe Mary too, or someone tells me like it is not yet done or something. I don't know. Would she have?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
would I at this point know that full decapitation is? I feel like that's kind of commonsensical.
The way I've been playing it, and it's not to make you guys look silly or to make you look like you're naive or anything, but I don't think vampires all know everything about being a vampire. Like, maybe if you go to one who's like a vampire scholar, like one of the Tremere or something, but like, I mean, they have all kinds of legends and rumors running around, especially the anarchs. So I think that, regardless.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there any information that I might have heard that might influence this decision? Is there some use to keeping him alive? Because right now I only see him as a liability.
Yeah, I
I
feel
don't
like it'd
think-
be wise to end it. I mean, we know that's putting people out in the sun kills them.
Yeah.
There's one use. And that is you can diablerize another vampire.
Okay, what does that mean?
If you
'Cause-
drank
Of course.
if you drank their vitae completely, you would gain some measure of their generation, which makes you considerably more powerful.
Oh.
Okay.
Well,
But your characters didn't know that, so I think that you dusted Churchill Jackson.
I think we dusted
okay.
him.
Yeah, 'cause that would have gobbled the prince.
yeah,
too.
I would have gobbled.
Yeah.
But I'm just a vampy baby, so I don't know these
Yeah.
things yet.
Neophyte
Yeah.
vamps.
Quick
Yeah.
question.
Maybe you should, you should ask people, learn about diablerie if you're interested, right? Maybe the thought occurred to Curtis, what if I drink this guy? And then you just dusted Churchill, right? Yeah. What's your question?
Didn't Erasmus also send out a contingent of anarchs before we co-opted his movement?
He sent him out to find Miles a couple sessions before. Remember?
I
And you
remember it
guys-
like being moments before we started giving orders that a group of anarchs had peeled out and gone on their merry.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
Am I making that up? I don't
I
want to
don't-
game the system, but I sort of vaguely remember that happening.
Well, as your storyteller, I know everything that happened in the universe. I'm familiar with every moment. I have it all written down here on paper. So all I'm going to say is that might be true. If it's important, let me know. If it's important to you or your plans, let me know.
I'm just trying to see how many people we have, like genuinely.
Yeah.
You know?
Because it is also possible some people didn't come back, not because they were dusted, but because they weren't into the new status quo.
Sure.
That's possible. So we've dealt with Churchill.
Can I
Yeah.
not to? I feel like I'm rarely the nickel and dime sort of player, but like
No, please, nickel and dime. That's what this is for. This is we're tying up all the loose ends, so you may nickel and dime. Go ahead.
now that I know what this diablerization is as a player, is there a chance that Mary would have informed me of that at the time?
Okay. No, there's no chance.
Okay.
There's no chance. Yeah.
Was that blasphemy to her, or is that not? Well, I guess I'll find out when I find out.
Why don't you let me know if you want to set a scene with her and talk to her about it? I think that would be great. I'm going to keep taking us through this kind of like list of things, but if you're like, wait, I need a scene to kind of, talk to this character or something, stop me and we'll do it.
Great.
All right. So the next thing is Erasmus was staked. You stopped him from being left out in the sun.
Mhm.
You and Mary kind of mentioned redemption to the other vampires when you did that. What are you doing with his body? Where do you have him stowed?
Well, my thought was that we would keep him, honestly, if I can, in a sort of undisclosed space that maybe only me, Curtis, and Miles, and maybe Mary know about at the moment.
Interesting. Do you have an idea of what that space would be or what type of space you'd like for that? He is staked, so he's in a functional torpor. He can't move. He's functionally, dead until the stake is removed.
I mean, I don't want to already be like,
Here in the blast furnaces, Erasmus already had a solution for the kind of thing you're talking about, which is that he would put people inside the furnaces.
furnace, right? That's what I was
And then
thinking.
you saw that there were mechanisms for him to turn them on if he wanted to kind of like flash fry a vampire. So that could be, you could put Erasmus in one of those, give him a little of his own medicine.
yeah, I sort of, that makes sense. I kind of just want to store him and then use him for information if and when we decide that that's useful, and if he would even give it, I don't know. But yeah, let's say that he's in a storage unit that is the furnace at the moment.
Okay, so that there are quite a few furnaces here, and they do have like hatches and things that open up, and multiple bodies could fit into them. So you've put him in one of them, and you've locked it up tight. I'm gonna assume you took proper security protocols on that.
Yeah.
And you didn't tell everybody that he's in there or anything like that. You kind of kept it a secret, you're saying.
I'm not. I don't want to be so discreet that people think that I'm trying to. I really want to try to walk the line of it not being complete anarchy and them thinking that we're just Erasmus Part 2 or Camarilla Part 2.
Right.
So I don't want to be like sketchy about it, but if there's a way for me to sort of naturally do it maybe I did it, if it's fair to say, before the other anarchs came back from their missions, I put him in the furnace.
I think so. So. I mean, you kind of stopped him from being left out in the sun last episode. And then, they were heading off on their missions that Curtis was giving them. And so then that's when you secured him away there. So Erasmus is a resource that you have. And you know how much you love talking to him and what a great resource he is.
Yeah.
He's available at any time that you want to talk to him. Okay. And then finally, I did mention this, but I'll just mention it one more time. Miles decapitated Adelaide. So she has been completely destroyed. So her body, when you finished, Miles, nailing it with the katana, you didn't see this because you were too busy running out the back door, but it kind of crumbled into dust. So just letting you know that Churchill Jackson and Adelaide are permanently removed from the Chronicle.
Did Miles tell us that he did this?
Did he?
Am I back with you guys? Or
Yes.
just running through the night?
Yeah, I think you made it back. Like this is the next night. You're all awakening at the blast furnaces. Absolutely.
Great. Then yeah, no, I did. If I return and you have the look of like, oh, what did you do? Because I know initially I snuck away.
Because he ran off on his
You
own.
ran off.
And you're covered in blood, right?
Yeah. Now I come back with a covered in blood and a
Unless
katana.
Actually, I want to see that
dust?
scene. That's just too good a scene to not see. So, guys, when you all awaken the next night, Miles is covered in blood. He was just missing the whole night. You were handling the fucking sheriff of the fucking city, and he should have been there to help you. And he shows up with a katana and covered in gore. What happened?
The prince is dead.
Missed you last night.
That's because I was taking care of business.
How did you find her?
I had my ways. I found her at the morgue.
I sent a team to take her out. You found her at the morgue?
I guess your team failed or only halfway got the job done, but I got in there and I took her head off with this, my new toy.
Did anyone see you?
Not that I know of, but who knows?
Jared, would Jen be smart enough, or could I make an intelligence roll to think about the fact that
Ashley is smart enough to think of it, so I think that Jen's smart enough to think of it. Jen, if you wanna assume that a medical examiner's building might have some cameras, I think that's a fair assumption.
Okay.
Miles is pretty convinced that he was in there, in and out, stealthy, got the job done, controlled the cop. He's learning. He's got more powers.
You understand? We can influence people. We can do some real good, Curtis. We can take the power back. Damn it!
You were definitely seen. There's no way you weren't seen. There are cameras in morgues, Miles.
You were walking around there like fucking Shogun assassin with that thing.
I'm surprised I'm not getting a little bit more gratitude for what I've done.
Look, I'm happy you're back, but this is another pile of shit on top of an already massive pile of shit.
You'd rather have the prince alive?
No.
No. You did good.
Damn straight.
You did good if that's what you did. You cut off the head. And I put hands on shoulders. You cut off the head of the whole organization. We took out the sheriff, but we gotta be secretive. We don't know. No one in the cops is loyal to us anymore. They still got their affiliation over there. Now the whole force might be out looking for somebody matching your description.
Right. The Masquerade. Okay.
Well, you guys are having this discussion. Kenya comes to you, and she's thin blood. She looks like a living person. She looks like she's been living rough, big head of hair, and she comes out and she's one of the ones that went to Miss Sonia's place and didn't get blown up. And she comes to you guys and she's like, Some of the others are, I think, waiting for you to tell us what's next.
Maybe
we should have some kind of meeting.
We'll be out there. We'll speak to everyone. Just give us a few minutes.
All right.
How many people made it back? How many do we have?
Including us, 19.
But if you round it up, it's an even 20.
Mary can accounts for 2.
One thing
we have 20. Ruby looks offended.
The half? 19 and a half?
When I was in the union, one of the biggest things we did was recruitment. You got to get people to join.
I was thinking the same thing. And in fact, okay, here's my question. On the USB drive, do I have information on ghouls as well?
Interesting. You would have information on Camarilla members, because it was mostly about Camarilla members. The former prince didn't really keep files on anarchs and independent vampires, unbound vampires, they're sometimes called, because he didn't know about them. They weren't in his official roles. So you would have information on a ghoul if it belonged to one of the Camarilla vampires.
Because here's my thought,
and
it's risky. But TJ Cope seemed pretty eager to get turned. And the Camarilla were keeping him as a ghoul because it served them better. So I'm wondering if there are some ghouls like TJ that might be willing to turn if we offered them the gift.
Ghouls in waiting.
Ghouls in waiting.
Yeah.
Well, here, the way I see it, that's a great idea. There's a couple other ways to get people to join our cause. One, that. Two, vampires that are already out there that just need to get some new ideas in their head. And 3, well, hell, how the hell did we become vampires? We were just some people walking around. That's what we do to people. We make new people,
Miles,
new vampires. We gobble them up.
I will not be turned. I will not turn people the way we were turned. We had no choice. We'll be just like them if we do that.
Well, we put a Craigslist ad or something.
We're not going on Craigslist. I've been burned before.
Worst roommate of my life for a year.
Yeah, Curtis.
Meanwhile, Curtis is a junkie.
Yeah, junkie. Yeah, there's that, and also Kyle. But yeah, it's like we can't go around turning people like crazy. Plus, we have no way of guaranteeing their loyalty. They counted on our loyalty, and what happened to them?
Just saying it's an option.
Yeah,
I think we need to make a case. We need to convince people. We have to show them that this is worthwhile. And I think starting with people that are already in the system, as risky as it is, if we can find ghouls we could turn, they would also have information on the coterie that they're a part of.
Okay, well, before we go out there, sure, recruitment, these are some good ideas. What else the hell are we going to do now that we're running this whole show?
well, we probably.
What do we want? I mean, I wake up from torpor and everything's changed.
I want freedom. I don't want to have to.
Why don't you set everybody free and then...
They'll be massacred.
So do you want freedom, Jen Brown, or do you want power?
I'm starting to find.
You want to just be someone out there, or do you want to be CEO of the goddamn vampires?
Jen.
That's a good
in this
question.
world, there's not much difference between the two.
Look,
you can run and be free, but they'll be massacred or you'll be massacred yourself. It seems like the only way of really being free is by having a little bit of power to call your own.
and we don't have to do it the way that they did it. We could bring people in to discuss these things too. We don't have to sort of relay information from on high because, look, we don't know what the fuck we're doing.
Well, they're
But they
looking
might-
to us like we're leaders, and I don't even want that position. I know my place in an organization. I'm a sergeant. I'm an NCO. You tell me what to do, I'll do it.
If you tell me what to do, I'll do it.
Oh, Jen, queen.
Oh, shit.
Jen,
Oh, fuck.
and you don't have to tell them what you tell me. Listen, when you're in charge, sometimes you need to keep up a virtuous front, and there are things that have to get done, and maybe you don't want to know about them. Maybe you don't even have to know about them. But if you let me know about something that might need getting done, it can get done.
Ain't that the truth?
You're persuasive. You're smart.
You got brains we wish we had.
These vamps will listen to you. They did before.
There's one thing though. I want Miles to make a intelligence plus occult roll.
Yes, bitch. Okay. Don't have some of those, but we'll give it a shot. I'm going to also include a thing of hunger, right? In a roll like that.
I think so. Yeah,
2 successes.
that's enough for you to think about the ghouls, the ghoul plan, recruiting ghouls,
Yeah.
and remembering that they are all blood bonded to their
Right. I would know
masters.
that because I knew that connection.
Because you've been blood bonded. It's just a concern. If your plan is to recruit ghouls, a lot of them may not have the will. They have been addicted to a certain person for 30 years, 50, hundreds.
But Miles got TJ to drink from him, right?
Yeah, we had. It's
he
not
did.
without. I will relay that technicality and say it doesn't make it impossible.
It just requires a little persuasion, a little discussion beforehand. I mean, this is like and you definitely got to choose who you talk to, because you choose the wrong person, they're all going to tell everybody of our plan.
Here's
another thing. May I suggest, Jen Brown, is there are other people within the Camarilla. There are other heads of the snake that are definitely going to be out for blood. Yes, we should recruit more, but we should also have another team or people out there lopping off more heads of the Hydra, baby.
I have another idea,
Yes.
and you're not going to like it.
Go on.
Sabrina contacted a group that knew a lot about the Kindred, that seemed invested in ending the Kindred, and have no love for the Camarilla or us. But if we can find them, it might be an alliance that would serve us for a time.
We couldn't ally with them, but we could turn them loose. Did Churchill Jackson tell Curtis anything about this guy and his organization when he brought him the body?
I think it's fair to say that he did. And the people you were talking about are likely the Second Inquisition. The Second Inquisition are a shadow deep state operation that operates inside of government, law enforcement, and the church. And their main objective is the destruction of vampires. And Churchill would have told you that they have like commando teams, like Navy SEAL type teams that they can send in, and they also have men like the guy that you met, who's more of an investigator, a forward scout.
How much of this did you just tell Miles? Because this is all new to him.
So yeah, I think it's this. Listen, yeah, it's basically that. There's a whole clandestine army of vampire hunters out there, working secretively, trying to destroy us all. But it's classic insurgency tactics. If you've got a powerful organization, you can turn them loose on another organization. You've got a flash drive with all the secrets and information of the Camarilla. Maybe some of that information could start to get selectively leaked to the right sources. They can start fighting some of our battles for us.
We also have thin bloods in our rank, or we could ghoul people to interface with them. It doesn't have to be any of us.
boy. Oh boy.
These are literally some of the anarch tactics that are in the book. You guys
Oh,
are coming
really?
up with them. Yeah, you're coming up with them on your own.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Well, not the sending the Second Inquisition after people. That's your own horrifying little brainstorm.
I will say that will work for a time.
Yeah.
But by doing that, you are essentially giving the enemy of your enemy, which is also our enemy, a better chance to end us in the end because they'll be fighting less people.
I know. It has to be something that we're doing in concert with building our numbers.
Okay.
Here's what. Oh, go
Should we
ahead.
have like a head of recruitment and a head of
Assassinations or something.
Yeah, we can have a headhunter sort of recruitment arm. We can have a sort of a team building retreat, ropes course.
I can
Well,
talk
the
to corporate, run it up the chain. See
The
it.
anarchs are ready to talk to you when you're ready to talk to them. If you'd like to start choosing, I'm not trying to rush you along.
Mhm.
I'm loving this conversation, but they are ready to
brainstorm.
talk
No
to
bad
you
idea.
when you would like to start interviewing people for certain positions in your organization. They are. You can now hear gathered and awakened outside.
Here's what I think. Go ahead, Curtis.
And I can say the Camarilla seem to have a lot of contacts and ghouls within law enforcement. It seems that the entire Pittsburgh PD was lousy with people on the Camarilla payroll. But I mean, I got some contacts and some people on the other side of the law that might be useful in their own way.
Okay, here's what I think. I think we can't stay here anymore. I think we need to find a new place that's off the map. Curtis, I feel like, or Miles, you might have a good idea of where that might be, that we can set up.
Yeah.
I don't think we stay in one spot. We keep moving and stay out of their havens. We know where they are. Stay out of their areas. We need to operate as much outside of their sphere of influence as we can. I also think we need to grow our numbers and fast. The ghouls they're high risk, high reward, but we also need another avenue of finding people to turn. I don't trust any of the vampires that have stuck in the Camarilla. I don't think we've met any that seem even amenable. I'm like racking my brain as a player even, like Roman's definitely not it. Laura's definitely not it. Like I'm trying to think of any Camarilla people we've met that have even seemed remotely reasonable, and that was like Churchill.
Who is that guy that was like, he was like kind of like is that Roman who was like, hey man, cool.
Yeah.
That was
that's right.
Roman. Yeah.
Of course, my horse.
Yeah.
You never know. I guess maybe he was pretty dedicated to the cause.
He seems also like such a loose cannon. It's one of those like, I just don't think I could ever trust him to not like slash us in the back again, even if we felt like we convinced him.
Yes, but he'd be a great guy to have because he's a big brute. He's a big bruiser.
He's Nosferatu, right?
He is, yeah.
And we just
Well,
blew up the
he is a-
haven.
That's actually that makes me think of like, are there any houses that are a little bit anarchistic in their like mantra? Like, are the Nosferatu a bit wild, or the Bruja as I am, or
The Bruja are known for being rabble rousers. The Bruja, and you would have picked this up at some point. The Bruja are the most. They joined the anarch movement even before the current status quo and like this sort of sect war. Like not the sect war, the War of Ages they call it, the anarchs versus the Camarilla. There were a lot of Bruja anarchs. So so they are, and the Gangrel are almost wholly in the anarch movement as well. That's Curtis's clan, and it was Churchill's clan. He was one of the few Gangrel left inside of the Camarilla. Those are the two clans that are most predisposed. There might be some other strange or slightly rarer bloodlines and clans that find more of a home in the anarch movement, but I don't think you'd know them off of the top of your head from your experiences so far.
Well, is it fair that I've gone back to the well of this USB enough? Is it fair that I could have amassed some information through reviewing it, that I would have some sort of plan or idea of what
I
would
can
be?
definitely give you some information right now if you'd like. I mean, you've
Yeah.
been going through it, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna outline for you, and people in the chat, you can listen up to this too and see what you think. I think that you guys, this is gonna be a list, all right? So stop me if you want to talk about something, or stop me if you want to ask me a question. But these are, as far as you know, the Camarilla assets that are still around out there. After taking out Churchill, after smashing the Prince's sort of haven in USX Tower, and after your guys went out and kind of messed up the art museum, here's what you have. Miss Sonia, haven now unknown. It's possible, according to the thumb drive, that there is an entire nest of Nosferatu in Polish Hill. She might still be in Polish Hill somewhere. Dr. Orman, who you met in the very first session, Jen Brown, and the Tremere Chantry. Orman is known to take his meetings in something called the Cathedral of Learning at Pitt, the university. But the Tremere Chantry is actually located in a place called Old Economy Village. It's 30 miles outside of Pittsburgh. It was formerly a Christian commune. According to the thumb drive, there are at least 5 members of Clan Tremere there. Clan Tremere, of course, are the scholars. They're very hierarchical and not individualistic. They are about the least likely to turn to anarchhood.
They just need to get taken out.
Yeah. And they, of course, practice
kill the educated. Make a fucking Khmer Rouge.
First stage of revolution, you must liquidate the intellectual.
I can tell you that they know the most about vampire powers and history and the occult. Okay. Vidya Saran and the Toreador. Vidya was the Toreador Primogen. She was a beautiful, statuesque Indian woman. That coterie is 4 in number, and they operate out of the Warhol Museum. There is a lot about the type of art that they appreciate, and you can kind of tell that some of Pittsburgh was kind of built along these lines because they've been around a long time. They prefer a brutalist commercial aesthetic, ultra modern, soulless, and they abhor all sentimentality. So they like very brutalist buildings and
Matrix vampires.
They are Matrix vampires. Thank you for summing it up very beautifully, Thomas.
Do we know if they killed any of the number, because the Warhol Museum's destroyed, right?
Yes, you would know, and I can tell you that they did. They did not, but they did destroy the Haven, and only lost 2 guys doing it.
Okay,
great.
We're kicking over hornets' nests all over the place.
Oh my god!
We need to get some allies quick.
We do.
There are likely
a big
at least
group to join us.
Yeah, there are likely at least 6 remaining Ventru. Before you even turned to Anarch, you took out the Ventru leadership, Obadiah Griffin and Stephen Francis. You took them out. But there are at least 6 other Ventru. They had their meetings at a place called the Steel Stacks outside Pittsburgh. The Steel Stacks is a modern concert venue where it's like the ultimate commercialist nightmare, where there's a Cold Stone Creamery and a fake Main Street, and then you can go see REO Speedwagon. That's where they would have their meetings. And according to the thumb drive, each of the members of this board of Ventru control or have a presence in Pittsburgh's largest businesses: Heinz Croft Foods, UOME Financial, U.S. Steel Corp, and Nastrom Enterprises.
Sorry, could you say what is it?
UOME Financial.
UOME Financial. Okay.
U.S. Steel Corp.
U.S. Steel Corp.
Nastrom Enterprises.
Nastrom Enterprises.
And then there are a couple more. I can give them to you later, but basically each of these vampires is entrenched in a company here in the city, the Ventru. The Blood Dance, who you've met, Laura was the only member of it you met, but she has 2 coterie mates, and they probably have some ghouls. The coterie mates are named Misery and Amon. and they operate out of 3 nightclubs in Pittsburgh. They control the three most popular nightclubs: Insomnia, Svengali is the name of another nightclub, and Pearl is the name of the third nightclub.
Okay.
The South Side Boys. That's what they go by. They're Roman, who have you met?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Jonas and Luke. The South Side is a very pubby kind of like pub crawl area of Pittsburgh, and they operate out of a dive bar called the White Eagle.
Okay.
Was one of these? I'm sorry. Have you mentioned? It wasn't Jen Brown's caretaker, Miss Sonia, and her crew.
Nosferatu, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those
So
were the Nosferatu.
the Polish Hill Nosferatu. So Miss Sonia did have a crew below her, and they are definitely in Polish Hill. And the former Prince Button Gwinnett had collected 6 Polish Hill addresses that he thinks might be havens. It looked like the Nosferatu and Mrs. Sonia's circle beneath her were all living in like families' houses in Polish Hill, like she was, like in attics and basements and things like that.
So there are 6 addresses on that USB.
For the Nosferatu in Polish Hill.
Okay.
Mason Auberger, the guy that Miles interacted with, T.J. Cope's regnant master. Mason Auberger controlled a coterie of Malkavians. They were formerly Adelaide's coterie, but she moved up to Prince. There are 5 of them left, as far as you know, and they meet in self-help groups, AA groups, and group therapy spaces all over the city. Their havens are unknown, but the meeting times and locations are in the thumb drive.
Okay.
We're almost done, everybody.
Almost.
Quite the info dump.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a lot, but
No, it's a lot.
anytime you
No, it's
want,
good.
anytime you want to know more, you let me know, and I'll let you know. The Prince just had someone called Spider listed with a haven in the U.S. Steel Building.
Oh.
And finally, you see Obadiah Griffin and Stephen Francis, and it makes you think of something. Specifically, it makes Miles think of something. What might he think of when he sees the names of those Ventru that were kind of brought to justice before you all turned Anarch? He might think of boxes.
Yeah, Ross is nodding like he remembers. I don't at all. What's going on?
Curtis,
Too
it's
much
okay.
news in the
Curtis,
meantime.
you can be the one. You can be the one to bring this up.
Like packing crates. Like Roman let us borrow a boat to go
Yeah.
run a heist.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, so at the docks, yeah.
No, not what I'm talking about at all. I think I'm
bottom of
going to
the
have to
region.
ask for an intelligence
Oh
plus.
no, yeah. The
politics roll.
boxes at the bottom of in the basement.
Of Elysium.
You got it now. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, every vampire that you had kind of taken down thus far in the
Torpid down
Chronicle
there.
were torped and staked and placed in the sub-basement of the U.S. Steel Building.
So they
And
could
you
just
don't-
raise them.
You have no idea where Buddy's body is right now, Stu Headley's, Obadiah Griffin, Stephen Francis, or Jake Nixon.
Buddy.
Buddy might
That's who we gotta get. He's a fucking super ancient specter, and all his specter people.
he's at least an
good
early
idea.
Although
a
he may
mid-century
not,
bad boy.
he may not love us. And even
You
if
think
he's
he
like,
loves
"Hey, you guys are anarchs now," like he may be like, "Great, I'm back now."
You
I'm
did
taking
shoot,
over."
bite, and stake him.
Yeah,
So
but
the
we could
MIA
play.
sorry.
We could play the long game. We could play like, we're all in on it now, and we've seen the light, and like, trying to make peace.
Is he a vampire like Mary? He's not, right? They're not of the same ilk.
Everything we've seen of him tells us that he's from like the 40s, whereas Mary's like from the dawn of time.
Right, but he is like a super vamp. He's got mega powers.
he's at least demonstrated powers that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, he's got
I
Men in
mean-
Black memory wiper powers.
Again, you know,
Well,
it's
his
okay.
friend did, not him.
Oh,
It's okay for you to ask your fellow anarchs if they know about this kind of stuff. I'm not going to like penalize you and have them go, "You don't know that? Attack him!" You know, they're not going to like turn on you. you can discuss any of these things. But I will tell you that right now, after you've been talking for a little while, Mary appears and goes, "Your congregation awaits your sermon."
Oh boy.
Okay. We're in this together, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
We keep moving. We keep the Camarilla off balance. We stay in the shadows, keep them guessing, strike asymmetrically and keep them on the back foot. And we find new allies. Yeah.
And if maybe before we go out, the last thing we could have maybe if Curtis and Miles, I don't know if you'd have them roll, but I'm assuming they know Pittsburgh very well and they might know the next place that we could go to.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to roll if you have an idea of where you'd like to go. I think you guys know the city well, as Jen says. So I can don't worry, I have some things I could recommend. So what kind of a thing are you looking for? What are you thinking?
A space where everybody can kind of meet. There's right. I mean, like.
I think we should be outside of the Camarilla's purview.
Yeah, although if it sounds like some of them are even outside of the city limits, so they're all over. Yeah, maybe something a little more far flung, like Buddy's garage was out in the woods.
Yeah, it was a little ways out there, right? Okay. I do want to roll then. I think. Let's see. What would be
Let's
an
take over
appropriate
a
roll?
Pennsylvania Amish town.
Yeah.
And no personal associations. Like this place should just be a place. Like they shouldn't be able to tie us to these places at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're building a coffin there, English.
You're up late, huh?
Gotta put some wire in my rabbit hutch once.
This will be an intelligence plus streetwise roll, and the more successes you get, the better the location will be.
Okay.
I don't want to be like, teacher, you didn't give us homework, but we didn't do a rouse roll for this, just to know how much hunger we have.
Teacher says everybody needs to do their rouse rolls, and I should remember to tell you that. Yes, rouse. Rise
from your grave, altered beast.
I got 2 successes for this intelligence streetwise roll.
That's pretty good. How'd everybody else? How did you did you roll it, Curtis?
Yeah,
Try, but I don't have any streetwise.
3 successes.
3 successes. Curtis, you know of a place called Brownsville right outside of town. And there's a place called the Brownsville General Hospital that's been abandoned since the 90s. It's a full hospital. So it's not on the thumb drive, meaning that as far as there are no Camarilla vampires there.
Right.
As far as you know, it's a huge abandoned building just sitting out there.
Sounds like,
and it could definitely house as many anarchs as you have right now. Right. No problem.
Kind of place that like teenagers would go to in the middle of the night for like hazing rituals.
Yeah, or to get fed on by a group of revolutionary vampires.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that up.
Yeah, speaking of feeding, I've just looked at my character sheet. I have 1 health. How do I? Is that?
Right. So no problem.
Needs to chomp.
Yeah. So let's see. What are you at? You're at 1 health. You say.
We can deal with this after we come up with a plan. But
yeah,
I think when you look at Miles Vanderbuck, he's not looking good. So you all deduce that he's to slurp.
He shouldn't be maxed out on superficial. Is he still maxed out on a little bit of aggravated? He would get at least 1 health level of aggravated to turn back to superficial right now.
Okay.
So we go from
he did get just dumped with blood. Does that change anything?
Yeah, that should change quite a bit, actually.
Oh wait, maybe this is a sheet that I've. Never mind. I don't know.
It's quite all right. You know what?
Actually,
I'm going to roll.
No, I have.
Go ahead and heal him to where he's just got a full bar of not even a full bar. He's got all but 1 filled with superficial. That's where he ended up after he had that urn poured all over him. He was able to rouse like 10 times in a row, and then heal a little bit of aggravated as well.
I just
his
keep
age.
browsing.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Great.
Let's
I'm gonna
let's go
and-
out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out and speak to the
Curtis and
assembled.
Miles flank you. They just sort of like V formation.
Yeah.
Their eyes are, some of their eyes are look tired, which is weird for the Kindred, seeing as how they are undead. Some of their eyes look skeptical. Others are like looking to you like, with a pleading kind of look in their eyes. There's less of them. This courtyard that was filled last night is now much less full. You see Cross with his arms crossed, and you see Kenya, and you see Mary kind of walks past you and sits with the group and looks up at you.
I know you all must have many questions, and I know our numbers are much fewer than when we started. There's no way around that. I would like to tell you 2 things. The prince is dead, and Churchill Jackson is dead.
Yeah, some people are like, hell yeah, wow, yeah.
Our fight is far from over, but the sacrifices of your fellows were not in vain. We've made headway, and they are scared. But I won't lie to you that this is going to be a hard road, and we don't have the resources we need right now to wage this war. But we will get them. First things first, we need to make sure that the number that we have amongst us are safe. So we are abandoning this base effective immediately. There is a hospital on the edge of town that's abandoned. We're going to relocate there and regroup. It's too risky to stay here. I have ideas about our next steps forward. I'm eager to share them with all of you, and I want to know your feedback. But the first thing that we need to do
We've built a suggestion box.
All ideas are welcome.
I have a PowerPoint presentation.
You're doing this
This
so
is Blue
well.
Sky. Yeah.
You're running a vampire group like Silicon Valley tech company. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's like so new. It's so 2020. Yes, Jen.
Finish up. This is so well done. Yeah. Tell me how do you finish up here? Or what was your next point? I'm sorry.
I'm going to say, but right now, my priority is keeping us safe so that we can come back stronger. I know that you did not expect this speech to be coming from me. And I know you didn't expect to have so many of your fellows not surrounding you anymore. I know that trust has to be earned. And I hope our victories are enough to sate you before I lay out the rest of the plan. Are we all in agreement that relocating is our next step?
They sort of like kind of look to each other and look back to you, and they kind of talk for a second. And Kenya is the first one to stand up and go, that seems like a wise decision. Yes. And Gross also, who couldn't be more different from Kenya, like stands up and is like, yeah, we better move.
Then let's move. And then I assume that everyone's going to go to their respective cars and
you're
things.
telling
And
them the Brownsville Hospital, right? The old
And
Yeah.
maybe before they go, as like Jen turns and like just pipe up a little bit and like maybe to some of the ones that I sent out and just like, I know there were sacrifices, but there were victories as well. The sheriff is dead. The prince is dead. We're going to shift locations. We will hit them again. So that we don't have to wear their shackles anymore.
Yeah! Fuck the cams! Fucking set
Fuck 'em up.
fires! Fucking break shit!
Yeah, Ruby.
Guys go like that, like yeah.
It's just
you
like-
see that some of the other anarchs are kind of looking at them sideways. Like it's clear that there's still a little bit of a schism in this group. Some of them are more true believers, if that makes sense. And some of them are like, let's fucking shoot people.
Can I also,
Maybe they
before
could
we
be managed.
before we disperse, that I want people to let's not just have like a caravan going out there. Like, hope like people should take different paths, like stay off major roads, but don't. I just feel like a line of cars going to one direction might be suspect. So I feel like,
and it might be the kind of thing where, like, if they, knowing what we know about the urn, if they need to take this time to find some ethically sourced blood, that they can transubstantiate in the urn.
That's a good idea. Maybe actually we should I wonder if maybe we could task one of them with getting some of that, because I'm sure everyone's fucking hungry.
Yeah, I mean, I am. Excuse me. Hi. Hi, Bob from Cleveland. Don't we need the bagged blood from the hospital for the urn to even be useful? Because I don't see that coterie here. They used to be at the meetings before. There was like a big orderly guy. I mean, you guys don't see them, right? They're not here. There was a doctor, and then people like kind of start talking to each other. So
I just kind of look.
And Kenya's like, our first priority should be learning about the urn. It gives us the ability to purify the blood. That's the main advantage and the thing that's going to draw anarchs to our cause. We have to learn what the urn is.
Listen, all of these things are important. I don't discredit that, but we cannot stay here. First things first, we relocate, we regroup. We have to get off. We can't let them have our scent.
All right, you've sent them and you wanted them to kind of stagger it, and let's see how well they follow your orders, Shent Brown. I want you to give me I think we'll go with a wits plus leadership roll.
Is there any chance that I got like another pip in leadership at any point?
Not quite yet, but
okay, all right.
Back next week, everybody will be leveled up, and that's probably where you're going to want to put your points.
At this point, okay.
Could
so
my
wits
little
plus leadership?
Yeah. How many dice do you have in that?
4.
Okay, that's not bad. And what I'm going to say to you is, if you get 3 successes, they will all follow your instructions to a letter. If you get 2, it'll be kind of sloppy. And if you get 1, they're not going to follow your instructions, and there's going to be probably some sort of fallout from that. So go ahead and give me the roll.
So I got a 1, so I'm going to spend a willpower.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and re-roll 2 of these bad boys. Okay, I got 2 successes.
2 successes. Very good. Yeah, people start peeling out, and you can tell that there's like a little bit of fighting among them as they all start heading out. I mean, there's only 19 people here, including you, but that's enough. And you catch a sight of somebody. You catch sight of somebody in the crowd who maybe is causing some of the animosity. It's a vampire with 1 arm and a big old beard. And he gets into a pickup truck with 2 other guys as they're starting to head out.
Before they head out, could I look to Curtis and say, can you go talk to them? They're not going to listen to me.
I just kind of nod. And are they peeling out in the truck already?
No, they're just getting in right now. As you get closer, you can see that only the guy missing the arm is actually Kindred. The 2 guys with him look like they're either, maybe they're thin blood, but they're pink. And you recognize this guy. Do you remember him?
I talked to him when we arrived at the church for the first time.
Miles with bullets from his automatic weapon when they were all sent out to hunt Miles. If you recall. Right. And he's like he's in the back seat of his fucking pickup, and he's going.
Yeah, okay. I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, keeping a low profile tonight. You sure that's such a great idea?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I disturb you? woodpecker neck.
Oh, you didn't disturb me.
I
It's
go
just,
where I want. I say what I want. I hunt where I want. And no junkie is going to tell me otherwise.
4 more
How about
years.
that, mother?
He's up in the truck, and
That's
and
why I'm
these
a
two
fucking anarch, baby. Woo!
I also might deputize Miles to sort of keep an eye on this and maybe intercede if he needs to.
great. Can I don't know, man.
If you nudge me, I'll just keep an eye on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll nudge you.
Okay. And I just can I hop up onto the truck bed?
Whoo, yeah, you can. His arm kind of like lazily points the AR-15 at you.
Mm-hmm.
I stealth and get closer. Or I'd like to.
Very good. Then I would like a stealth roll from you, sir. A dexterity plus stealth roll.
Oh, I wish it was stamina. One success.
One success, you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
one.
Okay. What are you saying, Curtis, when you hop up there?
Right. Yeah. Freedom and don't tread on me and all that. Yeah.
You fucking A right, motherfucker.
Fucking A, you're right. And as I kind of get a little bit closer, except when you cause a scene that's bad for the group, that means it's harder for everyone to be safe and secure. Like I don't feel particularly secure right now. Do you?
I'm not worried about myself. I might be worried about some of you other little pencil necks. Me and my brothers, we take care of our own. Being an anarch is about being a survivor. Are you a survivor, Curtis Krieger? Hey there, Rhodes. That other one coming up alongside.
I grab this guy.
All right,
I grab this guy by the beard as he whips his as he whips the.
Yeah, he's whipping around to Miles.
I grab him by the beard and yank him off the truck if I can.
Okay, great. I think that you need to give me. Well, let's do it in combat mode. Now we will do a 3-2 done. Right. Well, this encounter is all about whether you can get control of this guy, and it looks like you're going to try to do it with an ass whooping. So let's
That's
see.
the language Curtis talks.
He's going to try to whip around and just start. Well, maybe not fire at Miles, but he's going to try to whip around and get a bead on Miles.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to try to grab him with a fight attack and throw him off the truck. Miles, what are you going to do?
What I'd like to do if Curtis is successful is run over with my sword and sort of put it to his neck and say something rad. But if he's not, I'm going to take cover as best as I can.
Okay.
And avoid being shot.
Well, why don't you kind of like wait till next round then? You've got your katana out and you're just kind of waiting to see what happens between him and Curtis. So he's going to whip around and try to point his gun at Miles, and you, Curtis, are going to try to mess him up. Here you go. Ready? Roll.
What am I rolling here?
Oh, good. Yeah, that's a good point.
Dex
Strength
grapple?
plus
Strength grapple?
Strength plus brawl, and you can add your grapple die because that's what you're good. That's your specialty, right?
Yeah.
He's a grapplist.
You are a grapplist.
The Grapplist. Coming this fall on UPN. 3 successes.
Well, that's more than his one. And so you grab him by the beard and you throw him over the side of his own truck, and he lands hard on the ground. And yeah, his AR-15 goes off like just a little bit, and it hits him, and he's like, "Ah, fucker, fuck!" And you can see that he's got like blood coming out of his he's got like bullet holes in his neck right now. He's like, and now it's a new round where everybody can do something that they would like to do. So Miles, are you still going to run over and put your sword against him?
Yeah, if he's on the ground, right? Is that what happened? He sort of got yanked to the ground?
That's right. Yeah.
I'd just run over, put my sword to his neck, and I say,
Even anarchists have to abide by the masquerade. So keep yourself in check.
Okay, so you're gonna run over and try to intimidate him. We're gonna roll for that in a second. Curtis, what are you going to do? Just kind of let Miles do his thing now? Or
No,
are you gonna act?
I want to get down and get control of his gun. I want to jump off, snag the gun.
Okay, great. And he's gonna rouse to heal.
Okay.
And get to his feet. Okay. So he's got 2 bullet holes from an AR-15 in him coming out of his neck, and he's going to stand up and he's going to rouse and he's going to fail. So he's like he's getting hungrier as he tries to like staunch, as the wound starts to heal. And Miles, I want your intimidation roll, please. Your, let's call it a resolve plus intimidation roll.
Yes. Get ready for hopefully a lot of successes. Wait, that's not true.
That can't possibly be true.
That's impossible.
Oh my God. I'm going to use that's so dumb.
What did you do? What happened?
7 dice and 1 success.
Oh my God.
That's so lame. I guess I'll use a willpower. And I'm trying to get them back. They're all gone.
You got one back at the beginning of the session.
Yeah, you got one back at the beginning of the session.
Great. So let me just roll 3, 2. So a total of 3 successes.
Okay. 3 successes that's quite a bit. And Curtis, it's a free. I don't think you had to roll anything to jump out of the truck and grab the gun. So here's what I can tell you. Conflict over. The guy's not going to try any more shit, and you've taken his weapon.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what he does do? After Miles is like, kind of talk to him about the masquerade or whatever, he's like, man, fuck this shit, man. Y'all go off and have your own fucking circle jerk a fucking masquerade dance, all right? I don't go in for that fucking bullshit. Come on, boys. And
if I hear him saying that, can I walk up?
Yeah, you may.
We don't either.
You don't either what?
We don't deal with that masquerade bullshit. You're right. We're not the Camarilla.
Well, this motherfucker just told me I'm not allowed to use my weapon to discharge my weapon. I see fit to discharge it. Now, are you going to say that, little girl? You going to say that to me? Huh?
I'm going to ask.
When he insults Jen, the AR-15 that I've got in my hand just goes towards him.
I'm going to ask you to discharge it wisely. I'm not telling you to do anything. But I think you could have a lot more fun and a lot more freedom if you stay with us. But if you don't try to respect the people around you, I can't have that. So I'm asking you.
A Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking you. I think it's great that you want to wreak havoc. So do I.
Reaching across the aisle always works.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to say, Jen Brown. That was again an excellent attempt. Let's see if it works. I need you to give me a roll, and I think I'll let you do persuasion plus charisma for what you just did, or you can choose manipulation instead, actually, because you are manipulating him a little bit.
I'll do persuasion plus charisma. I would like if I could somehow get this dude to like me. I don't know if that's possible, but if
4 successes are necessary.
4?
Yeah, this guy's far away from you, and you're not. This guy makes decisions based on the type of person he's looking at a little more than.
I know.
Yeah. I need 4 successes.
I got 2. I'm gonna re-roll.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll my remaining.
This guy's a fucking liability.
I got 3 successes.
All right, we need a place to bed down for the night, so I'll see you at the hospital. Can I have my fucking gun back?
How about you get it back when I see you at home?
Give him his gun, Curtis.
I take the ammo out, and as a soldier, I just like break it down really like impressively quickly, and just like toss him the pieces. On base, we'd always have one or two like you.
He only has one arm, so he can't grab all the pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No. On base, we'd always have one or two like you end up shooting themselves in the ass with their own gun before they even made it to the shit.
All right, old boy. I'll be seeing you later. And he hops in the back of his pickup truck, and they start to roll out.
I turn to Jen. I'm like, I hope you know what you're doing. So he slips up one more time. I might take him out myself.
I won't stop you. But we got too few right now. If I can keep him, I want him. But not if he's going to cause trouble. So you see him slip up again, you do what you need to do.
Understood.
Kenya was kind of watching a lot of this, and she's like, so we don't respect the Masquerade anymore?
Can I have a sidebar with Kenya?
Yeah, of course.
Look, you're obviously smart. You obviously know we're not in a great position right now. I need bodies.
I hope you know what you're doing. And that's when Cross walks up to Curtis and Miles, and he's like, so the Masquerade is off. Nice.
Oh, fuck.
No. We clarified it with him.
It's on. Don't be an asshole.
Should we reconvene at the hospital?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing I'll say is that, Miles, you notice a female, not a vampire. She looks like she might be maybe a ghoul, or she looks mortal on the back of one of the bikers, motorcycles that you recognize, but you can't quite place where she comes from as they kind of roll out toward the location as well. A mortal woman.
How old, Jared?
Well, they're old. I mean, like, not old, but like, in her 20s. All right. And so she just looks familiar, and you can't quite place why. All right. So now let's reconvene at the old hospital. Man, it's big, but it is a shit show. The anarchs are walking around, looking around inside it. Kenya's like, there's all kinds of holes in the ceiling. Like, there's a lot of places where sunlight could come in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you hear like, motherfucker, this is my fucking corner. Like, you hear them all kind of already kind of starting in on each other. And
we gotta give these guys some jobs to do.
Yeah, maybe so.
Is there not like a area is there not a subterranean area? A basement, work area, boiler room, morgue.
Yeah, you look around for a little while, and you do find kind of a basement area that the steps are all kind of caved in and cracked, and this is an old hospital, so it's very low ceilings down there. But someone's like, Bob from Cleveland's like, okay, I guess we're just gonna all be Nosferatu tonight, and he starts to kind of like crawl down in there. Oh God. Oh my God. Oh, okay. I'm all right, everybody. As he goes down into the, see, you think you hate the redneck, but you're probably going to kill this character first.
Yeah.
All right. And, so people are they're kind of unhappy with their new digs, but they are, eventually all here. I think,
and also I should say that I took Erasmus out of the furnace when we left. and brought him with
Great. And
us.
how are you transporting the urn? I can tell you that I'm not trying to put your magic item in danger, so Mary has been staying close to the urn.
Right. I saw Erasmus the way he transported it before. I assume we would just emulate that in some way.
Great. So you're using the roller bag.
Yeah.
Remember, he would just put it in kind of a roller bag. And probably you have Erasmus and even a larger roller bag, just kind of like folded up in there with a stake through his heart. And there's just like a little bit of stains on the old suitcase. So people are finding spaces. What do you want to do? Do you want to rest? Do you want to go ahead? Because but you have a little time if there's anything else you want to do before you rest.
Yeah. How much night is left?
Let's see. I'd say there's probably like 2 hours left.
Okay. What are people doing right now? Are they bedding down, or do they seem to be?
They're arguing, and they are, frankly, bitching. And they are they're trying to find spots. They're trying to find spots in this building. It's a very big building. Some people are like nailing up, old pieces of wood over windows and things like that.
There we go.
But they're not like looking to us for any sort of guidance right now. They're bickering and stuff, but they're
not at the moment. Look, I can offer some ideas. Like maybe you kind of look around the building to look for resources you could use here, to kind of know it better.
I'd kind of like to do a council with Miles and Curtis somewhere out of earshot.
Okay, great. So you go off into a wing that people haven't really walked to yet. You guys are kind of just looking at like the main branches of the corridors. You haven't gone upstairs yet. You're afraid maybe the floors won't hold you. And you come over into the kind of the north wing, and you can talk to each other. It's dark here. You're far away from the others.
I feel like I'm on one of those shows on the Learning Channel where people walk around those buildings with night vision.
Those shows.
Yeah,
I love those things.
All right. The way I see it, the next thing that we have to do is find out how to get a supply of blood here covertly. Yeah. If these people don't eat, they're going to get fucking more impossible to wrangle than they already are.
Why don't we split up in sort of three overall tasks: recruitment, offense, and blood, food.
Right.
3 of us, we can head each operation individually. Split up who the hell these people are to help us if we need them or not.
Okay. Do we have a layout? Not to have you give us another massive info dump, but what are the anarchs we have at our disposal right now? I know we have True Believers, we have Kenya, we have Bob, we have, and then we have the redneck dudes. But like, who do we have, and what are our impressions of all of them?
You have the biker guys. They're probably, other members of the Iron Horsemen or whatever, who are, one of them went on the USX raid. You have like some, like we said, it's like half like punks or like gutter punks, people who, or there's the very fervently religious about Mary, like Nosferatu woman who you learned is named Thana. Mm-hmm. You have her. Cross is there, of course, and Cross had 2 guys himself. That he kind of used, and we're almost at the end of it. I mean, that's a lot of them. And then there's a couple more rabble rousers, a couple more ass kickers, like people who are in it for destruction and being able to fire off their guns.
Okay, Curtis.
Yeah.
I think I need you on offense.
All right.
You'll take the ones that want to do the most destruction, but you're going to have to earn their respect. They have to listen to you. I know right now that's an uphill battle, but if they don't fall in line, then we need them controlled, and we need them working to keep the Camarilla off of us.
All right. I'll do what I can. We need to figure out the best place to strike first, to go on the offensive.
Well, the way I see it. Wait, the Bruja. We didn't hear anything about the Bruja when we did our Camarilla info dump.
That's right, because the Bruja are almost totally in the Anarch movement.
They are, okay.
Some of the vampires here are likely Bruja.
Okay.
Some of them might be caitiff, which are called clanless. They don't develop the certain earmarks of the blood that vampires with a clan develop. And they can't master some of the proprietary disciplines of those clans necessarily, unless they have a good teacher.
Okay.
So some are probably clanless. There are thin bloods, as we mentioned, and then there are certainly Bruja here and Gangrel here.
Okay.
These are the main spokes of the Anarch movement represented.
Yeah, maybe I could try to go on a hunt for Sonia and her minions. Go to one of the other, start some trouble at one of the other havens.
We destroyed the Toreador's haven, which means that they're scattered to the wind. But we did deliver them a blow. We know where the Malkavians meet. So
I know some of those meeting places because I've been to. I'm starting to wonder if I ever saw them at a Narconon meeting.
do you feel the most comfortable going after them first?
I mean, it might be me seeing people that know me.
Right. The other options are
But
the Ventru. I sort of
if
wonder.
I see people who know me,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I'm not saying, but I'm saying, if you're looking for numbers,
How do you feel about that?
I mean, not amazing. In a weird way, this gift isn't different in a lot of ways from what I've already been through. It's an addiction. You feel like you're in control of it, but you're not in control of it. But once you get a taste, sometimes it's all you can think about.
You guys mentioned, so Curtis, it looks like you're taking over sort of the offensive wing of this operation. Is that right?
I would like him to if he wanted to.
Yeah, I'll do it.
We can maybe talk more too about where you would hit first. And then, Miles, how do you feel about getting us some blood?
Yeah. Say no more, Captain.
You know the way the urn works, but I mean, Miles knows the way the urn works at this point, right?
I need
It means that
blood
almost any blood can be reformed to be to work for everybody. But
So we can kill animals. We can find animals, kill them. You
Just
kill
said-
the urn.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my concern was basically trying to do another thing. If we had to get bagged blood, that would be easy for the Camarilla to track. But if we could
Right.
hunt animals and then just use them or something like that.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you could. I mean,
got it,
hunting
Captain.
animals is a little harder than maybe.
Oh, okay.
you think.
Miles has got it.
Miles has an idea. Okay, great. I can't wait to see these ideas. Maybe we'll see them.
I
just a
don't have an
moment.
idea.
Oh, okay. Well, don't worry. You know what? I can help give Miles some ideas.
Yeah.
I'm here to Sherpa
figure it
you as
out.
the storyteller. And Jen Brown, it sounds like then you are in charge of the recruitment drive. Is that right?
I guess so. Unless, I mean, to me, Curtis is the most logical to head the offensive. If Miles feels more strongly about recruitment, I can totally take over blood.
Great.
I'm
Then
down.
I'm going to
Love
set some
blood.
scenes.
Okay.
I'm going to set some scenes. And
Okay.
as you all go off to do these various things, Miles, first of all, if you would like to just find some blood, I think it's safe to say you realize you're in a hospital, right?
Yeah, one that's been abandoned since the 80s, you said.
That is correct. So
90s.
why don't you give me just a wits plus investigation roll?
Oh, but even if it's bad, if there's blood here, we could use it.
I suppose so. This is not going to be the most confident dice roll. One success.
One success. Okay. You managed to find an old cooler on the lower level
Yeah.
that has just completely like, I mean, since the 80s, like fucking like disgusting solid blood, and you're like, will this work in the urn? Like, will this actually work? And the people you're with, who are currently Bob and Kenya, are like looking at you skeptically, like, should we try this?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Okay, so you guys are moving to the urn, and Kenya looks at you and is like, Mary usually does this. Should we? I mean, do we need to have a ceremony?
You go get Mary and bring her out here.
Okay. Kenya leaves to go get Mary, and Mary is currently actually talking to Jen Brown.
Oh, okay.
After your friends left, you realized that Mary was kind of in the doorway.
Hi, Mary.
Hello, Jen Brown. I want you to know that I'm grateful to you for reminding me about redemption.
You're welcome.
And I want to make sure that redemption is our goal as we move forward with this crusade. I believe that the Ventru can be redeemed, that Sonia can be redeemed, that Auberger, all of them can be redeemed. You believe that too, don't you?
I want to give everyone a chance, Mary. But like what happened with Churchill, I mean, I didn't tell you to do anything. You made that choice. So you must have known in your heart.
You said that he was irredeemable.
I'm going to nickel and dime a little bit, I guess, as a player. Because I just said, I didn't tell her do it. I said he treated us like pawns.
That's right, you did.
And she said freedom. And then she did it.
That's right. You're absolutely right. So what she's going to say now is she's going to say, Jen Brown, you truly believe that Cain is the Messiah, that Jesus Christ was the second Cain, and that vampires are angels on his earth. You do believe that, don't you?
I want to be and I want to help usher in vampires that are truly angels.
That's an interesting answer. I actually quite love that answer. And so I'm going to give you an extra die on the roll I'm about to make you make. I think that you need to either use your composure or your resolve. I'll allow you to choose. Along with, I'll allow a etiquette or persuasion roll against her. What do you think?
I'll do resolve
You know
plus
what?
persuasion.
Okay, I'll allow it.
Okay.
And now here's what's going to happen. If you don't get enough successes, you probably have lost a little bit of sway with Mary. That's sort of scary because Mary is very powerful. So you need let's see how many successes you get, and you'll know where your relationship is based on that.
I got 3 successes.
We will usher in that age together.
Thank God.
And that's
Great.
when Kenya appears in the doorway and is like, Mary, we think we found some blood that we can use with the urn. And Mary goes, you will not use the urn until we have communion. And Kenya's like, okay, can we have Communion? Child, communion takes place on Sunday.
Oh, fuck. I'm not saying that as Jen. I'm saying that as Ashley.
Kenya kind of looks at you like,
I'm going to kind of give her a subtle, like, just please. Like,
okay, she ducks out of the room. Kenya comes back to you, Miles, and she goes, Mary refuses to conduct the ritual, but also says that we shouldn't play with the urn unless the ritual is conducted. And
What
Bob
the
is like,
hell?
are you kidding? That's insane. She's not serious. Is she serious?
Hang on, Bob. Jesus. Look, Mary's something that I've never seen before. Have you? No. So she has a certain way of doing things. And as far as I'm concerned, she's the chef of the goddamn blood. So right now, we got to get more of these bags, and I want you to round up some people and search the hospital while I try and figure out where we can get more of this stuff. And try and get those fridges up and running.
You got to be fucking kidding me. This is ridiculous.
Bob,
Fine.
I'm not here to argue with you.
Okay. Walk away. And Kenya's like,
Bob. Be a team
I don't
player,
know, man.
Bob.
I'm not trying to join the Catholic Church or whatever she's part of.
That's not what I saw when I was seeing everybody dance around like goddamn satyrs in that church I was in back there
A couple nights ago, a week ago, whatever the fuck.
Probably like 3 nights ago. Who knows
yeah,
what
a
the
few nights
timeline
ago.
is?
Everybody there seemed like believers to me. And
Yeah,
whatever
she
gets
seems
the urn,
cowed by that.
yeah, whatever gets the urn going is what we do, okay? Otherwise we're all lost. So
Okay.
So I've been put in charge of getting blood. And you're gonna listen to what I have to say.
Miles, give a composure plus survival roll to get these guys searching for stuff you can use.
All right.
Number of successes will tell you how well they did.
1 success.
Great. I'm gonna rule that some of the little holes in the ceiling are getting patched up, but the blood you have is the blood that is there. And toward dawn, you can see a couple of the kindred eyeing it hungrily. Curtis Krieger, you are talking to
Yes,
some
sir.
of the more combat-oriented vampires.
Mhm.
Cross is front and center.
Great.
And what are you explaining to him and the rednecks and the Iron Horse?
Great. Well, that's a good question. That is a good question. Because I don't feel we walked out of that little meeting of the triumvirate with a offensive agenda.
And that's
Right.
like I cut you off a little bit. So if you would like to figure it out now, you're certainly welcome to.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to think through it a second. So we've got the Toreador's haven was busted up, and so they're just out and abroad. Who knows
Mhm.
where? But we could guess as to where they might have gone based on their proclivities. The Nosferatu are scattered in homes throughout Polish Hill, although we've seen how they defend themselves.
Yes, we do have 6 addresses apparently on that USB as well
Yeah,
for Polish.
I assume that there's been some sort of. I wonder what what the World of Light governmental or law enforcement response has been to a giant bomb going off in the middle of a neighborhood.
Sure.
If you'd like, you can look that up.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you to do that right now.
Great, I do that.
Okay. Using a device, one of the devices that's floating around, you see that it is been tied in with the Night of Terror in Pittsburgh. And this one in particular, the Red Network is kind of leaning on to show that these radical communist socialist attackers wanted to hurt normal working families.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, you needed to use your blush of life to touch the touch screen. So give me a rouse roll.
Oh.
Am I going to start making you do this every time? No, but I think we should start every once in a while mentioning these things because you are vampires and it's part of the.
Oh, that's a failure. I'm now actually quite hungry.
Really?
Yeah. Well, good thing there's a little blood. Oh, wait, you're not allowed to drink it.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's being tied into the whole Night of Terror.
Okay. So there's probably, but there's probably a big law enforcement presence all throughout the city if there was a bunch of fires going off. But it's spread thin. Nosferatus are there. We've got the clubs,
Right.
the Malkavians.
Roman and the South Side Boys are at the White Eagle. The Malkavians are right in the help groups.
The helpful things would be just keeping them disorganized, confused, unable to strike back. So the prince being out of commission and the sheriff being out of commission are big because
Right.
they're all
Huge.
power hungry. So the power their first one of their first priorities would be filling those power vacuums because they'd all be trying to jockey to be the one to fill it.
Right.
They need
right.
one of those ibis masked elders to come to town to appoint the new prince.
Right. And I think you would know this, but if you'd like, you can give me an intelligence plus politics roll.
Sure. Rolling is fun. Intelligence plus politics is not a good one for me. I have more hunger than I have in this dice pool.
Oh, okay. Well,
but it's a success.
Oh,
okay, great.
great.
Well, then what I can tell you, it's one success, right?
2 successes.
Oh,
Oh.
very good. Yes. Okay. So it is true that according to the Camarilla rules, the Archons and the Camarilla leadership would appoint the new prince. But you picked up from Churchill and from other Camarilla vampires that you talked to that it doesn't always work that way, that sometimes there is a power struggle. Sometimes 2 princes are declared. They declare themselves prince. Much like when they were 2 popes in medieval Europe for 100 years. Sometimes,
The great schism.
sometimes there are schisms, and sometimes the
people thought they
Camarilla
called Jew,
organization, sometimes
having
one of
one.
those Ibis Mask guys waits to back the one that proves to be the more powerful and able to defend himself.
I have a question. Would Jen Brown have the capability right now to potentially try to do a DDoS attack or something on the companies that the Ventru have, a coordinated attack on their finances rather than on them physically?
She could certainly try, would you like to start making some inroads toward doing that? Would you like to kind of start that task?
If we think it's viable at all. I mean, it would require us to not have to send people to try to kill them yet, but it would put them in disarray.
That's good. And also tactic brain is if they're in a position where there might be these weird power struggles, then the things that would take their focus off us would be pitting them against each other and attacks that would cast suspicion on other members of the Camarilla or create other situations where they'd be squabbling amongst themselves.
Right.
Jen Brown, just as a side note, I do want to mention this. You realize that when you are kind of just thinking about these DDoS attacks and the sort of cyber attack that you could make, that you are cut off from your grouper resources.
Right.
Because if you recall, Sabrina is the CEO of Grouper.
Right.
And she is Sonia's creature now.
Right.
So we're probably going to erase all the resources on your sheet. Probably when we come back in 2 weeks, and we're not done yet tonight, but we're going to have all new backgrounds and advantages on our sheet because everything will have flipped to a whole new place. But I think that's exciting and fun. But what I will say is that do you try hard to log into Grouper? Do you try hard to kind of get some of your info back to get into your company account? Or do you, when you first detect that you've been cut off, do you kind of let it go?
I think I should let it go because that is a direct line to me. If I fuck it up and they I I think it's gone. I think the company is gone. But I'm still a whiz kid.
Willpower roll from Jen Brown.
Oh, that's fair. Sure.
Jen Brown is a thin blood. She has the quality that she's a thin blood that frenzies sometimes. Could I have a willpower roll with her? Just her current willpower, please.
3 successes.
Okay, Jen Brown, the device is shaking in your hand, but you remain calm. You remain in control. And so now I do want to set the scene where you're going to kind of give what the combat vector is going to be for this whole crusade, Curtis. So what are we telling the warriors, the warrior class?
Yeah.
I would say personally that maybe Nosferatu and Ventru are off the table for the moment, because Ventru we might be able to attack in a different way. Nosferatu, it seems too risky. But we've got the Blood Dance dudes, the South Side Boys, the Malkavians, and the Toreadors. Oh, and the Tremors.
Right.
Maybe not the Toreadors either, because they're sort of scattered to the wind. So, of those.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a bar brawl at a blood dance sort of place wouldn't be out of smashing up stuff. Wouldn't things happen in clubs all the time?
If you're going for a target that you know a little bit about, and that doesn't seem overwhelming, like, might not be able to bring resources to bear that you're not ready for, that does seem like the conservative choice.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I mean, fires happen all the time.
Yeah. Exactly.
A lot of them happened last night in Pittsburgh.
That's right. I have 2 things in mind I think but number 1 is is telling my crew about this idea.
All right.
Can you tell me anything I might know about? Okay, great. The head of the Camarilla is off. Its right arm is cut off, but they won't stay shed for long. Our tactics now are an insurgency. We got to move in silence, strike hard, strike quick, get out in secret, keep them off balance, keep them guessing, keeping them distrusting each other, scrambling for whatever scraps of power that they can pick up in the wreckage we've left them. And we will leave their unlives as wrecks. We're going to move up to the bigger fish a little bit later. But let's start kicking out some of the smaller struts right now. Keep them guessing, keeping them suspicious. We know that they operate a blood dance operation out of Insomnia, Svengali, and Pearl. I say tonight, let's do a little partying. And if some blood ends up on the dance floor, then so much the better.
The rednecks are like, hell yeah, well, what the fuck, man? And the Iron Horsemen are just nodding. But Cross is like, are you serious?
You got an issue?
Yeah, I do. We got to go for Sonia Nowak immediately. Are you aware of what a threat she is? I mean, she's probably next in line for Prince. And if we don't find her, she's going to find us real soon.
You got a line on Sonia Nowak?
No, I don't have a line on her. But I think we should be putting everything we have into finding her.
They're expecting a strike. We're going to get to her. We're going to get to the most powerful elements in this. Right now, if what you say is true, if she's in line to be the next prince, then her energy is focused on consolidating the power that she has, not stomping us out. While they're focused at the top, we make their bottom weaker, and then we strike them.
I hope you know what you're doing.
People keep saying that to us.
It's like the theme of this. If there was a name for this episode, it would be I hope you know what you're doing.
I hope you know what you're doing. Well, yeah, I guess Cross accepts your decision for right now, so that will be the next move. Unless there's anything else, I have a final scene to set.
Okay. Well, I would want to I would maybe want to go to a map or something, or think about where I could get some more blood. But if I pass on the way that young woman that I saw on the back of the bike, I wouldn't mind getting a closer glimpse.
She says, yeah, I mean, you're getting a map and you just keep looking at the hospitals in the neighborhood and you think, God damn it, if we hadn't lost that connection, maybe there's a way to get that connection back, because they were feeding this movement like bags of blood, And while you're kind of thinking of that, or maybe finding other venues, the young woman walks up to you. She's got she looks like a gutter punk. She's got like a mostly shaved head. She's got some hair hanging off the side. She's dressed in like a ratty like tank top, and she goes, "Mr. Vanderbuck."
Yeah. Turn around. Look at her.
You don't remember me.
Oh.
Can't say that I do.
You pulled me out of a basement in McKeesport.
Oh. Yeah. Right, of course. How you doing?
I know this is a weird. This is weird. Well, after that, I didn't really have any place to go, and the Camarilla gave me a spot, but it was with those. It's hard for me to say still, vampires that were operating out of the museum.
Right.
Anyway, I didn't want to be with them anymore, and I told your men when they came, and they brought me to you.
I forget your name, sweetheart, but I'm glad you're here.
My name's Dylan.
Dylan. Look, if you have any problems here, you come to me, okay? And if you know anybody like you, maybe that was in your position before, that maybe wants to come to this site, you let me know, all right?
I will.
Have you been bit? Are you one of us?
No, well, I mean, you seem, you don't seem like a lot of the others, and neither do your friends, and that's why, I'm happy I'm here. But I just want to say, like, I don't want it. Okay?
All right.
I don't want the blood. I don't want to, I don't want any of it.
Okay, you got it. Well, if anyone is pushing you to drink it again, you come to me. You just sorry, Dylan, you remind me of someone I know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks for
Shred the
everything.
gnar.
And she moves off to go, hammer more boards onto holes in the wall. And you have at least one full human among your number. And maybe that will come in handy at some point. But after that scene, I think that is where we will end for tonight.
All right.
And that is the end of season 1 of Vampires of Pittsburgh. When we come back in 2 weeks, we're going to take the week off next week. When we come back in 2 weeks, we will jump a little bit ahead in time, not too much. I haven't decided exactly how much yet. Maybe the players have some idea. And we will get into all these little plans you hatched. I can't wait to see how they go. How are you feeling, guys? What are you thinking? What's your vibe after all this?
I feel like we have like things to do in order to keep an organization running, and those will end up being our like missions. I want as gameplay, I kind of want, like, although we're heads of different departments, I want to, anytime there's a thing to go do, I'd like for us all to go together.
I know. I still want to stay together.
I know. I don't want to split the. Yeah. I don't
So like, if we get a good lead on food, or if we get a good lead on a hit or a recruitment, that we should all like team up.
I mean, I do think that there is something to the recruiting of like both contacts in the in the world I came from, whether it's turning former or current addicts into our numbers and ghouling dealers for revenge.
I love that too. Well,
Mhm.
like, look, I think that you have your gang, you have your gang now, but you guys are. I mean, you're the player characters, so you're the ones who know whether or not you can get it done. I mean, as we've proved from just this little epilogue, if you delegate and you send someone off, you don't know what's going to come back to you.
Right.
You can never know for sure. So I think it will be about, I think there still will be some kind of city planning, kind of like planning the war kind of aspect where you decide the things that you can delegate. And then there will be, as Thomas has said, missions where, you got to get your hands dirty. You got to do it yourself.
Yeah.
I
I think for Miles, like he'll probably get whoever underlings are part of the farmers to go just scout sources. Don't do anything. Just see what sources there are. And that can buy time for another one of your guys' mission that Miles can kind of join on.
I meant to say this earlier too, but I'm so
Feels like
proud of
XCOM.
our Gen Con buds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
that
can't
was
believe
great.
they put the prince into torpor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They fought valiantly.
They fought valiantly.
Suicide mission. It's the dirty dozen.
They did a fantastic job. They were, it came down to one roll at the end, whether they would escape or not. And unfortunately, they didn't make it. A SWAT team got them, but, they could just have easily still been part of your number. So, our RIP. Also, they were only hit by bullets, so they're only in torpor.
Oh,
whoops. I fully left them there.
What were you gonna do? Sit there making Ralph rolls when
No,
you would have been like under 5 and gone into torpor yourself.
I had to. There's also the mystery of, although Miles doesn't know it, but we all know it, that there's someone hunting me and by proxy you all.
That's something too that maybe it's smart to send your folks out to do things for you, so that we try to keep you.
Yeah,
keep you,
I'm assuming once we get a good stash, we will have to personally see to it. But
yeah,
as I say,
Yeah,
it's like XCOM. You're like researching different things, and when they dig when they're ready, then you go do the mission.
No, I think we're ready to add that layer to it, and I think it's going to be so fun. So, I just want to thank my players again: Thomas Middleditch, Ashley Burch, and Ross Bryant for being here tonight. And you guys are fantastic as always. Follow them on all social things and watch all of the things they do. And thank you guys. I'll say goodnight for right now. In 2 weeks, let's do this again.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
And that was the epilogue to season 1 of Vampires of Pittsburgh. I thought there were all kinds of really interesting developments there. Let me do my end of show business. If people have questions or comments, send them through, and I'll try to answer them. We are going to take the week off from Vampires of Pittsburgh. We will be returning on August 19th with a whole new seasons of Vampire Bloodshed. Our Victorian era Call of Cthulhu campaign, the Neptune Society, will be taking this Sunday off and returning on August 16th with a special 3-parter starring everyone's favorite laudanum-soaked surgeon, Dr. John McCorkadall, played by Humphrey Carr. And I'm really excited about this storyline. We're going to have we're going to have at least one new player with Dr. McCorkadall, and I think it's going to be really, really, really cool. Oh, wow. Look at this beautiful schedule. There it is, everybody. So no Neptune Society this week. No Vampires of Pittsburgh this next coming Wednesday. And then the Neptune Society will be back, and Vampires of Pittsburgh will be back, the following weeks after that. And we're going to keep it weekly. We're keeping it weekly. We just had to take a week off here in August to give me time and Clint time to sort of come up with plans for the games and write the games a little bit. Okay, and by the way, if you didn't see it last night, I really want you to check out our new Call of Cthulhu series, Coven. The girls that are in the show actually call it Coven of Bitches. It premiered last night, and it's available to watch now on our YouTube channel. And we'll be revisiting these foul-mouthed Ghostbusters every other Tuesday, so you can see them next on August 18th. Really do check out that series because I'm so proud of it, and it's so really funny while also our players in that series are so committed. So they're not like breaking the reality to make jokes. They're just such naturally funny people. They were like making me lose it. Okay. Follow us on twitch.tv/stream of blood. Keep up with our schedule on our socials, Twitter and Instagram. We're at _stream of blood _. We're on Reddit r/stream of blood. And please join our Facebook group, because that's another place that we give updates and ask questions and just talk about horror and role-playing games and everything that we're into. Title card was by Will Pottorff, WILLPOTTORFF, Pottorff, and please check him out on Instagram or at willpottorff.com. Our in-game art is supplied often by Ross Bryant, who you just saw kick some ass. He's at RossBB on Instagram, and I want to thank Sophia Otero, Megan Arch, oh gosh, I Garrett Ross. I think I got everybody who do our promotions and make cool little things like that little schedule you saw, because those are the things that keep a stream like this running, is letting people know what the hell you're doing. And now I'm here. If anybody has a question or a comment, I am here. So we have a crusading Gnostic elder, arcane pseudo-Catholic rituals, and a rabble of anarchs who have declared, we're not doing the masquerade. Have we just recreated the Sabbat? People are like, bring me the Sabbat. I love the Sabbat. It looks like we kind of have, because they also have an urn they all drink out of, right? Yeah, maybe it's like they're accidentally inventing the Sabbat all over again. I don't know. I think according to the book, the Sabbat are all off in the Middle East fighting the Gehenna War. What would they think of a movement like this? I will say it's not quite like the Sabbat, because a lot of the people aren't true believers and they're not all blood bonded to each other. That was the main thing about Sabbat pacts, is that they would feed their own blood into like a chalice, and they would all become blood bonded to each other. So this is a little different from that, but still. Did Blaze in the Dark inspire you to see how some of the operations went, or did you just wing it? So it absolutely inspired some of those roles. And I can tell you that when we come back, we are going to have some of that kind of gameplay. I think that, like we said at the end, Miles, Jen, and Curtis will still go on missions and have their personal storylines. So they'll still be in scenes like you saw tonight, but we will also have downtime, where they kind of send people off to find food, send people off on missions, and recruitment drives and all of that stuff. I might just steal a lot of that game mechanic, because I feel like it's so fun, and it just works. It just works, right? We'll still roll the vampire dice. We'll still use all of the, there's nothing in the vampire book that says you can't play that way. You can't play a little bit of like a kind of a city campaign to take over a city. So, yeah, definitely. I am the game master for the Coven game. And the players are three of my really dear friends who are comedians. One is my wife, who I have a child with. And they're just so funny. And we played one game, and I thought, this is got to go on the stream. It's too good to not put on the stream. So that is why I am being their little game master for that game. How can you say Sonia is next in line to be Prince? She's the only person the rest of the cam have left to blame for the PC coteries defection. It's a very good point. I think Cross was just saying she's the one that has the most. I mean, she's got a bunch of agents. You know what I mean? Like, she might be the most powerful in terms of, just her political power or practical power to control the city. We never really found out the full extent of Sonia's spy network, but I think that Sonia was the one who got away the cleanest and made them hurt the most. She took out so many vampires with the way she got away. So, I think that that's just what Cross is responding to. I don't think that she's next in line in terms of, the Camarilla laws of succession or whatever. He's just saying she's scary to me and we need to hit her first. But that's a good point. I mean, she did adopt Jen Brown, and Jen Brown is pretty much the person that switched everybody to an anarch. will we get to season 2 artwork, Evolution of the Revolution? I mean, we have to, right? Artwork is always something that we really want to include as much as we can. And, a lot of our artists are fan artists who work for free. But damn, I definitely want to see some of these characters. Send us art, please. We will put it everywhere. We will put it in the stream. Send us art. We would love to see your art. That's my unashamed begging for art. When you're writing the story, if you make a roll to see what direction you should take for fun. Yeah, so I'm a huge proponent of like random tables and destiny rolls or whatever you call it. And I do that sometimes. Absolutely, I do. I think that that's one of the cool things about a role-playing game. It's even cooler than a video game, that it can kind of literally leave what I have planned, or I can go, well, one of these two things can happen. Let's see. Oh, that's what happened. Because that's more interesting for me, right? If I don't know what's going to happen, and I get to be surprised too. Sometimes it can be a little harder to run because I'm suddenly having to role play a character I didn't know was going to appear. I don't know what their voice sounds like, or what their agenda is. But that's okay. I think that people are. I think people are down no matter what. I think people who watch are like, it's cool. Let's see where he goes with this. That's what's cool about being a game master. Okay, that's all the questions. Thank you guys so much for being with us for 21 episodes of this show. And we're going to come back in 2 weeks and give you more. And so, here we go. I'm new to Twitch. I really liked watching you for play. How can I be notified when you guys stream again in 2 weeks? Follow our Twitter and follow our Instagram. And follow us on Twitch. I think there's like a little heart you click, and then you will know when we are streaming. All right, that's it. Until next time, #become Russet, #get pink. Viva la revolution. Bye-bye.